Alright guys, now we're starting chapter 7, only 2 more chapters and we're done, so keep it up. Today we're going to do problem number 3, 13, and then out of the book we're going to do numbers 35 through 40. Hopefully I can talk you through those and help you figure those out. So antiderivatives is what we're doing right now. So the directions for number 3 says find the general solution to the exact differential equation. Alright, so what they basically, when they say that, they want us to figure out what y is. So the antiderivative of dy dx is y. So then we got to go through and we go, the antiderivative of sine of x. We know the derivative of cosine x and sine of x are related, but we do know that the derivative of cosine x is negative sine of x. Since this one is not negative, we have to make that negative. And same thing with this next one. We have e to the negative x. The derivative of e to the negative x is negative e to the negative x. So the antiderivative would be e to the negative x, but then we have to divide by a negative 1, which just changes that sign to a plus sign. And then the last one right there is plus 8x cubed divided by 4. And then absolutely do not forget that plus c. I'm going to say that over and over and over again. Remember that plus c. In our next problem, it's going to be vital that we remember that plus c. This one right here, it's easy to forget, so don't do that. We can clean it up and say negative cosine of x plus e to the negative x plus 2x cubed plus c. Oh, sorry, 2x to the 4th. Ooh, big mistake. Okay, and the way I caught that was I was looking and I was going to take the derivative again, and I did 3 times 2 is 6, and I was like, oh, that doesn't work out. So you can always just take the derivative of this, and it should give you this right here. The derivative of c is 0, so it goes away. Alright, now number 13, the directions say, solve the initial value problem explicitly. So this means figure out what your c is going to be. So this one gives us a little bit different. It's not dy dx, it's du dx. Same thing, it's just telling us that our function is going to be u. So this is u equals 7x to the 7th divided by 7. Minus 3x cubed divided by 3 plus 5x plus c. So u cleaned up is going to give us x to the 7th minus x cubed plus 5x plus c. Then, remember, they're never going to give you extraneous information, so you want to use this. So u equals 1 when x equals 1. So 1 equals 1 to the 7th minus 1 to the 3rd plus 5 times 1 plus c. So what we're doing is we're going to figure out what that c is. 1 equals 1 minus 1 is 0, 5 plus c, so therefore c has to be negative 4. Now, it says explicitly, so that means don't forget to write the actual answer. The actual answer is this thing, but plugging in c is negative 4, we get u equals x to the 7th minus x to the 3rd plus 5x minus 4, and that would be a good answer. Alright, so the next one we're going to use our book. I'm going to sketch a little bit in my book, but that's because it's my book and I can. Please don't write in your book. So here we go. Let's make sure we can see all this. Okay, so I'm doing problems number 35 through 40. And the book has the graph for you. You don't have to sketch those graphs on there at all. But so the first 35 says dy dx equals x. So what we want to do is we want to look for specific things. Like we know when x equals 0, then our slope, our dy dx, is going to be 0. So the slope of 0 is going to be horizontal lines, and that's when x equals 0. So that's only on the y-axis. So we go through and we look right here. None of those are horizontal. None of those are horizontal. None of those are horizontal. All of those are horizontal, so it's possibly C. None of those are horizontal, and all of those are horizontal. So it's between C and F. So all we want to do is we just want to pick one more number, and so like say x is 1. So right here, x is 1, and all of those little lines right there. So when x is 1, the slope is 1, and all of those are the exact same thing. Down here, when x is 1, the slope is still changing. So the answer to number 35 is graph C. Okay. And this is just what you got to do. There are going to be problems like this on the AP test, and it's going to be easy points if you just take your time and you go with it. So the next one is dy dx equals y. So that's when y equals 0. Y equals 0 on the x-axis. If you look right here, there's no horizontal lines on the x-axis. Right here, it could be horizontal lines, so I'm going to say it could be possibly B. We're already done with C. It is not that one. This one right here also has horizontal lines, so it could be this one. So we're going to go through between B and E. And this one right here is not horizontal lines, so we know it's not this one. So then we just want to test one more point. So we know everywhere when y is 1, it's going to have a slope of 1. So if you look, all of these should be y equals 1. Coming down here, y equals 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. X can be anything, and the y will still be 1. So that gives us that is graph E. Because all the y values, if you look down the lines, all the y values have the same exact slope. Now our next line is x minus y. So what I do is I look and I say, well, I always look for horizontal asymptotes, and horizontal tangent lines. Yeah, horizontal asymptotes could work there too. If we look at x minus y, we know when x is equal to y, then that's going to be 0, no matter what. 5 minus 5, 0. Negative 5 minus negative 5, 0. 10 minus 10, 0. So we know anywhere x and y are the same exact value, then it's going to have a horizontal asymptote. And so that's the line y equals x. And we just look down here like this and we say, okay, are those horizontal lines going all the way down this axis? It could be this one. I'm going to come back to this one. But I'm going to rule out all the ones that I definitely can't be. So we're looking for horizontal lines, horizontal lines. No horizontal lines on that vertical. No horizontal lines on that vertical. No horizontal lines on that vertical. And no horizontal lines on that vertical. Plus we're already done with graph C and E. So all we're doing is trying to decide between these ones. If you get stuck, then move on to another one. It looks like it's going to be anywhere between this one and maybe this one. This looks like it could have it didn't draw it, but it could have a horizontal. So the way to look at this is pick a point over here. That point right there, say, is at 5, 0. Okay, at 5, 0, that slope, 5 minus y, would be a positive slope. Over here on this graph, 5, 0, that's a negative slope. So we know it's not D, it has to be A. So x minus y is going to be A. Then that leads us to the next one, y minus x. So y minus x is going to give us the same thing when x and y are the same thing, but when x is 5 and y is 0, this would be 0 minus 5. That would be a negative slope. So that one's going to be graph D. I know I'm going really fast through this, but you guys just got to mess with them and you got to start testing points, picking points and testing them. Figure out a way, because they're definitely going to be on the test and you want to make these easy points for you. So 39 says negative y over x. Negative y over x. If I would look at that and I go, oh, when x is 0, it's undefined. So it's a vertical line, okay? So going right here, vertical, 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 vertical. Whereas this one, if you notice all those little marks right there, they're all 0. X equals 0, or the slope is 0. So if we looked at our problem number 40, it says negative x over y. Right there, negative 0 over any y value is always going to give us a slope of 0. So I would say that that's graph F, which leaves us with this one as graph B. And that's that right there. So see how the horizontal lines are all there when y equals 0? All right, guys. Make sure you stay ahead of this and don't ever forget your plus C.